Zyra Jungle received some huge buffs on the last patch and is now one of the strongest AP jungler in this game, thanks to her plants that can tank the damage for her and melt the jungle camps at the same time. This champion is capable to full clear the jungle even before the scuttle spawns, and after hitting level 6, even the ganks become so easy thanks to her ultimate, which is a knock-up ability you can't miss. Additionally, you can even slow enemies thanks to one specific item that can easily be used due to Zyra's high-range spells and root ability. But let's start with her clear path first. At level 1 we are going to take a red jungle egg and start at the blue buff. Zyra Jungle don't really need a leash, but there is one important thing you should keep in mind before you start attacking it. Her passive ability spawns a seed in a random area nearby that can be transformed into a plant, which is her main damage source. But since you haven't unlocked your W spell yet, which allows you to place a seed on a location of your choice, you have to work with Zyra's passive seeds. So you should make sure to stand near the blue buff 30 seconds before spawning to make sure that there are at least 2 seeds you can transform into plants. In order to maximize Zyra's damage, you should put the first skill point into the Q spell and try to hit the seeds and buff at the same time. After that, walk towards the grump and skill the W spell, which allows you to put a seed at a spot you actually want to have it, and just do the same thing like you did before. The good thing is, when you are finished with one jungle camp, you get 1 seed back instantly, so you never have to worry about the W cooldown. But obviously the camp gets cleared faster when you are able to place 2 seeds. Do the same thing with the wolves and move on towards the raptors and unlock the E spell while you are on the way. The stun makes sure that the raptors are going to focus the plants, and as always, try to hit all of them with the Q spell when you can. Just make sure to have 2 seeds up before you move on towards the red buff, since it requires a bit more damage to get rid of this big fella. The Krugs, however, can be done from the other side of the wall, so you don't have to waste some time walking around this corner. But even when you clear this camp like any other champion, Zyra should still be finished with her full clear after 3 minutes, 10 seconds and able to be at the Scuttle Crab on time. Since you don't want to fight for it at this stage of the game because her damage is way too low during the early game. Only commit for it when you are sure that one of your laners has lane prio and can help you out. However, let's talk about the ganking part.
This is where the fun begins.
Zyra has a great gank potential thanks to her high range, which allows her to damage enemies that are standing far away, and her root, which has duration of only 1 second but a ridiculous high range. But since this thing has a quite small hitbox, and due to the fact that the enemy can easily flash away from it, you shouldn't start Zyra's gank with this ability. Instead, try to attack them with the Q spell and place the seed right before the Q ability deals some damage so you can still give birth to this plant. And sometimes that is enough to bait out a panic summoner spell. Try to do the same thing when you are using Zyra's root, since when this spell activates a seed, it gives birth to a different type of plant called Vine Lasher, which has the ability to slow enemies and can still turn the gank into a success when you miss your root on the enemy. And even when you mess everything up, Zyra can still collect an easy Dark Harvest stack, since the seed range combined with the plant attack range is ridiculously high, so you still have done something for her scaling. Meanwhile, you keep clearing the jungle with her increased clear speed until you reach level 6, which gives Zyra a new tool to make the gank even easier than before. Her ultimate creates a huge web of plants that knocks all enemies up standing inside the area after 2 seconds being casted. And since the area is so large, you can easily block off the escape path of the enemy laner. At the same time, you should place some seeds inside the ultimate, since these get also triggered by this ability and turn into plants that are way more deadly than the ordinary ones. And by rushing the first item, Riley Crystal, you technically have a slow on every other spell. One of the major benefits of playing Zyra Jungle are her strengths of doing objectives. With her plants, she can easily solo Scuttle or Dragon, as long as she doesn't get interrupted by the enemy jungler. And when it looks like there is a team fight going to start around one objective, Zyra can set up some seeds and create a deadly area for the enemy team. They surely don't want to engage in it. So you have great crowd control in these kinds of situations. Skill the E spell first for a longer stun duration and a solid damage increase. After that, skill the Q spell for lower cooldown and more damage, and last but not least, max out the W spell. Here are the build and runes for Zyra Jungle. And if you want to know why there is an Ornn plate inside the jungle, and is always several items ahead against the enemy jungler at the first Scuttle fight, click on this video right here.